What's up, hybrids? Welcome back to another episode of the Fandom Hybrid Podcast. This is Hanako, and I am here with Mike, and we are discussing the return of Marvel's What If series for the third and final season, episode
Finally.
one.
Uh, it's so good. Marvel presents
Man,
Pacific Rim versus Godzilla.
so I was actually thinking of it as if the Hulk, Godzilla, and Gizmo had a baby, it would be this
Yeah.
episode. Not just because of the apex creature, but I mean, there were so many. Like watching this episode, I was thinking about you and I was like, Mike is going to enjoy this because there are so many 80s references
So
in this.
many.
First of all, they started it out like a vintage 80s cartoon for the
Hmm.
Avengers, and it was talking about how the Avengers had to save the world from these apex beings because of the Hulk, blah 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 blah. And you have this girl, she's like trying to get it to work because it stops, and then all of a sudden she finds that she is actually in basically the world that she was just watching on the internet.
Right. Yeah, I love that because the cartoon looked like those the Amazing Spider-Man cartoons. Like it had like the same kind of vibe to it. And shout out to them for giving Tony Stark marvelous fucking hair in that
Man,
thing.
let me
Like,
tell you,
like
I
his
was
shit was just
like,
like
who is this? This is not Tony Stark. He looks
I
like
was
he
like,
needs to be
him and Thor.
what was his name? Was it Fabio? The guy who used to be on
Yeah,
the
he was.
romance covers?
Yeah, yeah, he was definitely Techie Fabio in that. I was like, that shit's magnificent. Damn, him and Thor had magnificent hair. I was like, shit.
Right. So the episode is about the Gamma Wars, which has to do with Hulk's character, very in depth. And one of the things I like about this episode, and actually one of the things that I love about What If, and this is something we have talked about before, is because they take Marvel characters from seemingly different, not necessarily universes, but you have characters who have never interacted together before, and they throw them into these team ups, and you look at them and you're like, why can't I get this in live action? Because when I
Hmm.
saw the names at the beginning of the episode, we had Oscar Isaac. I was like, wait, we're getting Moon Knight in this episode. You had Simu
Hmm.
Liu. I was like, Shang-Chi, I'm here for it. I didn't even know what the episode was about. I was just looking. And then you see Tiana Parr. What? Wait, we're getting Monica Rambo too? This episode had them all, and it was so
Yeah,
much fun because
I had to figure Red Guardian, and
Melina,
what's her name, Emelina. Even
yeah,
though it wasn't Rachel Weisz, and it had Nakia. I was trying to figure out the first time I watched. I was like, who is the Wakandan? I was like, it's not Shuri. I was like, oh, it's Nakia,
Nakia.
but it's not Lupita.
No, I think she and Rachel were the only two
Yeah,
original actresses who were not in this episode. But you had Anthony Mackie, you had Sebastian Stan, you had
Keanu Paris, David
Taylor.
Harbour, Simu Liu,
Yeah,
Oscar
so
Isaac. Yeah.
Mark Ruffalo. So
Hmm.
I was so excited when I saw all the names because I was like, okay, this story is about to be bananas.
Bananas.
It was
Yeah.
bananas, but it was bananas in a good way. I loved it. So, again, we're talking about the Gamma Wars, and this one is focused on the Hulk. And you see the beginning of the episode where you have the Hulk, or excuse me, you have Bruce Banner and Sam Wilson doing the whole running around the
From Civil
block and
War.
on your left, but instead of Cap
No, Winter
being the
Soldier.
one, or instead of Steve Rogers being the one who was
Yeah.
kind of making the circles around Sam, it was Sam making the circles around Bruce Banner. And they strike up a friendship. And of course, one of the things about Bruce Banner in all of the movies is that he is heavily burdened by the Hulk's presence and how, his destructive nature, and it kind of takes a toll on his personality. And so that's kind of where we are with the start of this story, because um Bruce goes to Sam's support group for therapy to kind of try to get some help, try to get some clarity about how he feels about having to share his body with the Hulk. And
Hmm.
then he decides, which really, Bruce, you're supposed to be smarter than this. But he decides that if Gamma was the reason why the Hulk became into existence, he figures that he will try to do something using Gamma to reverse. I know Mike's shaking his head, to
That
reverse what was
mhm.
done.
To try to expel the Hulk from himself, and I'm like,
Oh, he did some expelling, all right.
I mean, how are you so smart and so stupid? Let's go back real quick. How about Sam giving going really simple instead of incredibly complex? Like he was like, I've tried yoga, I've tried being spiritual, da da da. He's like, have you tried talking to somebody? He's like, huh? I'm like,
Right.
simple shit. It's like, I mean, and it actually worked for a second. If he wouldn't have got hit by that boom on Sam's boat, he might have been okay.
Yeah.
But then he changed back and went off and decided, I'm going to help myself with more gamma radiation because that's not going to make the Hulk do anything weird, right?
Not at
No,
all. Mm-mm.
no. I'm like, you're so smart, you're stupid. It's like, why are you trying to you keep trying to tech a solution to this? And it's like he basically gave you the solution when you talked to him, you were pretty much in control.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, he's just too smart for his own good. And here we go. He gets and split. The animation for the split of him from the apex.
Yes.
Oh my God.
But again, another 80s reference because I'm looking at this and basically what happens is I guess the Hulk part, the bad part of the Hulk splits from Bruce Banner. And then he starts uh, I guess
It's
expelling.
literally Gizmo and Stripe. It's literally
Yes,
Gizmo and Stripe.
basically. Yes. And that's
Because
what I
then
was thinking. I was like, oh, so we got gremlins in the Marvel
and then,
universe
then
now.
then he spawns the other ones from popping off his back, and I'm like, oh, that's 100% Gremlins. Like, yo,
And that's not a good thing because
that's not good at all.
if they're anywhere near as destructive as the gremlins were, then yeah. And we see they
They're
literally
1,000 times
have
the
to,
size. It's like, ugh.
right. So you basically have this war with this apex being the Hulk and these thousands of little Hulks or whatever you want to I forgot what they called them. But so it becomes this huge war because the Avengers are, they're trying to fight them, they're trying to defeat them. They can't defeat them on their own. So they end up with these tech suits that they use to try to fight them, and they still can't beat them. Now, the funny thing about the tech suits, I was like, okay, so am I watching Voltron or am I watching GoBots or am I watching Pacific Rim? Or it was just,
Watching G-Force. I mean, it's basically every 80s anime just balled up together in one.
I'm telling you, this episode was a love letter to the 80s
It
because
was.
of the references. Even at one point when the Hulk is fighting, you hear the sound effect that you used to hear in the Incredible Hulk show back in the 70s and 80s when he's turning, you hear the I can't duplicate the
Yeah,
sound.
like six
But you
million
know
dollar
this.
man. Yeah, six
Is
million
that
dollar
what it
man
was?
sound.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hmm. I
I
was
knew it
like,
was.
wow.
I'm telling you, 80s love fest.
It really
But
was. That was awesome.
what happens in the episode is 10 years after this first gamma war, supposedly they defeated these gamma beasts, they sunk to the bottom of the ocean. It's 10 years of peace, and then all of a sudden you hear something on a radar, you see something on a radar, like, oh, we're getting a gamma signature here where it's not supposed to be one. Okay, y'all already know, y'all should have went into this knowing you
This is
was
why
about
you always double tap. You always make sure that the job is done. You got to make sure that the apex is dead. If the apex is not dead, the job's not done. It's like
right.
he's going to come back sometime. It's like you have to make sure that happens.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
like what?
And it's
I
like,
don't know.
So Sam obviously is in charge of this group of Avengers, and you have Sam Wilson, you have Monica Rambeau, you have a very different looking Bucky Barnes, because I didn't even realize that was Bucky when I first saw him, because I'm not used to him with the short, neat
Right.
haircut. It was just weird, and I'm sitting here looking like that sounds like Sebastian Stan, but it doesn't look like Bucky, and he doesn't act like Bucky. But of course, this is a different version of Bucky. You have
Right.
she as part of it. We got fucking Moon Knight, which is why I'm wearing
Finally.
my Moon Knight shirt. Not in the way that we wanted him, because I'm still waiting for that season 2 of Moon Knight. But right
Mhm.
now, I will take him however I can get him. I was so excited when I saw Oscar Isaac's name in the opening credits. I was like, yes, we're getting Moon Knight. And oh, Mike is gonna blow his lid. I
Yep, and he was Mark Spector instead of he was Mark Spector in this too. So it's
Well,
like,
that makes sense, because I think Steven, in the iteration that we met him before he kind of realized what he was and who he was, I don't think he
right.
would have fit well in this version of events. Like, we needed the
Yeah.
one, the person who is the fighter, the soldier, the one who can get some shit done.
Yeah, and Jake is too off the wall. Like Jake would have just gotten everybody killed.
Yeah, and technically speaking, we've only like very briefly met Jake, so I don't think it would
Right.
have made sense for them to put him in
Right.
this, because everybody would be like, okay, so why are y'all
Yeah.
giving us this version of the character? And we couldn't even get his story yet. So
Right. Man, Mark's definitely the better tactician of the two that we've met. So it's like, yeah, it makes 100% makes sense. And he was really good in this. I mean, the little bit I got, I was like, okay, I'm happy. That'll work.
yeah, I thought it was very funny that the Red Guardian and Melina were part of the Avengers crew. I was like,
Yeah, he was like, you know, he didn't never set foot in Mother Russia. Like, yeah, but you ran. He was like, I was drawing him away.
I'm
The two of them bickering was just hilarious. And it's like the whole time she never cracked a smile. She was just sitting there. He
not
was behind
once.
her, like, yeah. He's like, she was like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
I enjoyed it because I like seeing how they interact with each other. And then in this one, like I said, Sam is obviously the leader. And then you have Monica is, I guess, kind of like his second, because every time you
Lieutenant,
saw
yeah,
him in a position of command, it was him, Monica, and Bucky. And Monica, even though she's his second in command, you almost feel like she's kind of sort of in charge too, because Sam would give her orders. She'd be like, okay, over on the side, hey, Bucky, I know he said don't do this, but I
right,
need you to go do this. I need you to go
yeah,
find out this information, because at this point, 10 years after the Gamma Wars, Bruce Banner has fallen off the radar, because he realized that instead of making things better with the Hulk, he actually made them worse, like brought the
right.
world to the brink of war. No, excuse me, not even the brink of war, brought war. So,
Yeah, but technically, it wasn't really his fault, though. I mean, it's like I understand him feeling
no,
responsible, but it's
no,
like,
no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to
what?
do that. Talking about it's not his fault. Who sat him in the chair with the gamma rays? He did that.
Sam didn't set him in there.
Huh?
Sam didn't put him in that chair. Bruce did
No,
that.
that's what I'm saying. It was
Oh,
no.
okay.
Yeah. Oh, you were
Okay,
saying
then
no.
we're
I
saying
was
something
saying
different.
it.
I'm saying that Sam didn't want to go see him because he felt responsible for how he turned out and for him going to do that. He
Okay.
said, yeah, and I'm like, that's not his fault. Like you did all you could do.
Right.
It's like that's on Bruce. Bruce did that shit on his own.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah,
Okay, so
Bruce.
I thought you were talking about Bruce, but yeah, I mean, Sam has a little bit of guilt, but then also at the same time, he knows that Bruce will probably be able to help them, but he's reluctant to go and seek him out. He was like, "No, we're not going to bother him. You know, it's already too much for him." And he
Mm-hmm.
want. I think also he feels like Bruce may not be able to handle it, but it's just one of those things where Bruce, I think he could handle it, but he's feeling guilty because of the mess that he's created. And then Sam, like you said, Sam is feeling guilty because he feels like he didn't help Bruce out enough. And I'm like, okay,
Right.
first of all, y'all, with Sam. You gotta understand, Bruce is a grown ass man. He needs to take responsibility. But
Hmm.
also, you can't tiptoe around him just because you feel like, oh, if I say something that'll get him mad, we're going to have Hulk issues. And Bruce is the one who fucked everything up. Bruce needs to take accountability. He needs to come and help fix it, which he
Hmm.
kind of sort of does at first.
That
He
shit could have gone left so
it
bad
really could
though.
have. It really could
Holy
have.
shit.
But he created this program, which basically is the Voltron thing, as I mentioned, where he the tech machines, the mechanical suit,
Mechs, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
they would merge together and become powerful enough to fight this apex being. Because of course, 10 years after they thought that they defeated them, they come back, and they come back with thousands. And it's like you said, they didn't double tap. So what happens? The numbers multiply, and they were in water at that. I don't know if that was on purpose, but there's thousands of them now. And if you barely defeated them the first time, and those numbers were nowhere near what they are now, yeah, y'all need to go find some other. Y'all better
Yeah.
call the space, call the Watcher.
Yeah, do
Hey, can
something.
you help? But we don't even
Mhm.
know. Like, I don't even know if this is in the same timeline as the stories from season 1 and season 2, because the Watcher is very much out of the picture at this point. So we don't know if these stories in season 3 are going to merge with what happened in season
Yeah.
2.
Yeah, I think when they release the titles, there's going to be something where the Watcher gets in trouble for intervening and stuff, but that's way further down the line. But this is like for the beginning of for our purposes in the beginning, like nobody is like Captain Cartering this. Like they're not
Mm-hmm.
the ones. They can't hear the Watcher like monologuing out on the side or anything like that. But
Right.
it's like, uh, I mean, I thought I'm looking at a thing, looking at the power structure, and I was thinking, I was like, you know what? It makes sense because Bucky, Rambo, and Sam are the only ones that actually have military rank, and they're all captains. So basically, they're co-captains.
Okay.
So it's like it makes sense that they're leading everything because they actually have leadership experience. So it's like,
Yeah.
and Sam's smart enough to have people to defer to, as opposed to just being Cap and being the
Oh,
one that's
right.
calling all the shots. He's like, you guys have valuable experience, so I need y'all to do this with me because
Mm-hmm.
that way I have someone to bounce stuff off of. So that
Yeah.
makes sense. But I mean, uh, yeah, let's go ahead and talk about that. Talk about Hulkzilla. That motherfucker. Holy shit.
So, like I
And here
said,
goes. Go
at
ahead.
at first, when the apex being separated from him, I
Yeah.
thought Godzilla because of the tail. And then when I looked at the structure of him, I was like, no, he looks like something else. And then towards the end, when Bruce does come back, and what he does is he takes an old nuclear weapon, a nuclear bomb that was in his hideout when Sam went to go find him,
That he
and
said was inactive.
that he said wasn't active. He kind of did something. What did he say? He gave the bomb
He put a gamma core inside of it.
right, so that it would so that when it exploded, he would absorb all of the gamma radiation. And
Here he goes
everybody else
again
is
trying to
like, no, don't do this.
he's trying to science a fucking solution again. Like,
Well, I mean,
and,
it kind of worked this time
yeah, but
because
it's
he
like,
did
but
absorb it. He
it's like
didn't
it's
grow.
he set off a gamma nuclear bomb in New York.
Yeah, but they had already evacuated. So I mean, whatever he did with that gamma bomb was not anything worse than the apex creature and all the thousands of other creatures
Yeah.
throwing the Avengers and mocks all around the city.
Yeah.
So he didn't really do any more damage. I mean, it's kind of like Independence Day when they were getting ready to set off the nukes. They're like, well, everybody is already evacuated, so the damages should be minimum. Because
Yeah,
who's staying in the city with all of that?
you'd be surprised. Like, people were staying. Remember Independence Day? People were on top of buildings trying to welcome the damn aliens, and when the movie started,
This was before the aliens attacked, and they weren't quite sure what was going to happen. So you can't really compare. But if
these
you,
days people are stupid. They'll stay for streams and be like, they'll have their phones and be like, yeah, we're right here, the monster's right here, and then
bruh,
oh shit,
yeah,
yeah,
you're right. They would do that. But when the Hulk does absorb all the gamma radiation and he grows and he turns into the creature, I'm like, okay, no, he's Godzilla.
Godzilla.
And that's why I was thinking, I was like, the other one, now it's been a long time since I've seen the older Godzilla movies, but I think I distinctly remember, it might not have been Mothra, but I distinctly remember there was a
Which one? The ones with the people in the suits, or like the more recent ones?
no, I'm thinking like the older ones, because was there not a creature that almost looked like he was in a samurai suit? Because that's kind of what this creature reminded me of. But I'm trying to remember if I'm
There
remembering
were there
that
were
was,
other. God, there were so many other shows that had characters
and
that
that's what
looked
I'm
like
thinking. Yeah.
mechs, and like that look like samurai, big samurai mechs. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think if there was a monster. I mean, there could have been. There was so many shows. They had so many monsters. It's like
Yeah.
it honestly could have been.
But
I mean, yeah,
him turning into that into the Godzilla Hulkzilla, whatever we want to call it, I was like, wait, so is he gonna be able to change back?
he might
Which I
not.
don't
He
think.
absorbed a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, to the point where he was breathing gamma fire, and that was how he got rid of the apex creature. He melted him with the gamma fire.
I'm saying he was like the Gamma Highlander. It's just like when the Highlander killed somebody and he absorbed the electricity and shit. It's like he took that big hit of gamma radiation from burning the other guy. I was like, there can only be one. And I was like, okay. And then when he roared and all the other mini me's went swoop, like
Yeah.
cool,
They were like, "Oh, you're the boss now. We worship
got it.
you. We follow you."
Yeah, that's just crazy.
Which is what they figured would happen once they were like, "Okay, so what is Bruce about to do and why is he about to do this knowing that they feared that he wouldn't be able to handle all of that." And
Hmm.
then Sam was the one who figured out, no, so yeah, this is what he's doing. He's gonna try to beat the apex so that he can become the apex, beat the alpha, become the
Yep.
alpha. Okay, that makes sense. But now you have Bruce as this big ass creature with all these little bitty ass creatures following him, and they literally travel through the ocean to get back to his little bunker inside of a
Yep.
volcano. And I'm just like, so are we sure they're not going to do any damage? Because even though Bruce came in to help them after he defeated the Apex, he turned around like he was about to attack them, and Shang-Chi was like, nope, guns. And what was it? Moon Knight
No,
said,
no, no, no. That was Mark. That was Moon Knight. Moon Knight was like, nope, crack. Khonshu says, hit him.
no, I think Shang-Chi said something about that too, because Shang-Chi was like, nope, 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 nope. Mm-mm, mm-mm.
Uh, yeah, and then Sam had his Moana moment with him. I was like, as soon as he was walking up, I was like, is this the end of Moana? The first Moana, like when the lava creature was walking towards her, and she walked towards her and like turned her back into
Right.
the forest god. I was like, they're Moanaing this shit. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
but it's like that shit was crazy. Like he was looking into his eye. I was like, I like Sam's better than me. But see, that's who they're trying to get Sam to be in the MCU. He's like the guy that he's not going to solve it with gunfire and bombs. He's going to
And
solve
violence.
it
Yeah.
with dialogue
Yeah.
and with trying to like get you to calm down. It's like
Yeah.
that's the kind of Cap he's going to be,
But I mean,
and
we
he's
saw
showing how
that
effective
in
that is.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And they're
So
just reinforcing it. That's just probably what they're going to do in the movie too. Is
mhm.
like they're going to show how he works with his mind before he tries to work with weaponry. So I
Yeah.
mean, this just goes right. It goes right along with what he does, and it was
Mhm.
awesome. And he was just like, I mean, Bruce was just I I can I mean I'm glad that Bruce took ownership of what he did,
Mhm.
and but it's just like you got to get some healing, bro. Like it's just it looks like you got to figure that shit out.
I
Like you
don't know
can't
if
just
there's
be.
that much healing in the world
I don't know either
because
at this point.
well, one, I mean, oh, and then I'm looking out, I'm watching it in the background, and when they did that final shot of him yelling, and they did the face close up, he looked like
That was
uh
like the Tyrannosaurus in Jurassic Park. I was
he
like,
looks
oh,
like Thing.
they all look like Thing. They all look like a combination of the Hulk and the Thing. It's like they all was like, right? It was like everybody's clobbering us at once. Like what the hell?
Right. But
Yeah,
uh yeah, as far as Bruce goes, like in this particular version of him, I don't know if Bruce still exists. I think at this point, with the being that he is, and with the creatures that he now controls, and the fact that he's gone off to his little exclusive island for a probably permanent vacation, I yeah, I think Bruce is done. I don't think there's any coming back from this, especially with the amount of gamma radiation he absorbed this time.
yeah. I think there's a little bit in him, but I don't think that he's going to be able to become brute like human Bruce again. It's like
Mm-mm.
that's probably out. It's like
Yeah.
he'll probably I don't think he'll be like a talking Godzilla either. I just think that he like there's part of it's still in him, but he's just not going to be able to effectively communicate what's going on. Like
Right.
I mean, it's like he won't be able to talk. So it's like he'll just be Bruce grunting and growling all the time and
Yeah.
breathing with
I
bad
think
morning.
this version of him is probably at peace.
Yeah,
Like he did the thing that he was supposed to do. He was able to correct his wrongs before anything more destructive happened, because I don't even think this version of the Apex and the followers were able to do much damage, because the Avengers kind of cut them off before they really got into the city. And then
right.
they combined into the, I forgot what he called it, the something protocol.
A
Um
mega Avenger, mega
okay,
Avenger
yes.
protocol.
So um so yeah, I think since he was able to do that, he was able to avert disaster for a second time, keeping people safe. And none of the newer Avengers fell, because if I remember correctly, the other Avengers, I think, died in the first Gamma War. So
Right. Well, yeah. I that's kind of I don't know. It's they kind of suggested it, but it did mean outright say they said they got beaten, but they didn't say they got killed.
they said they were fallen, and generally that
Oh,
means, yeah,
yeah. Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
Because if they were just defeated and just sent to, go home with their tail between their legs, I think
They
those,
would have come back, yeah.
yeah, they would have come back to help with this
Right.
version of it. So yeah, I think they were all pretty much gone, because if I'm not mistaken, in the beginning you did see the main Avengers, as far as Tony Stark, Cap, Thor,
Hmm.
Black Widow. I can't
Yeah.
remember if I saw Hawkeye, but yeah, so
Yeah,
you
Hawkeye
see
was in
them.
there too. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, I think at this point Bruce probably feels at peace, because he's like, okay, I averted a crisis, and he was able to, I guess, see from Sam's point of view that he's not necessarily a monster, that there is
Right.
still a decent person inside him, and the decent person did what they needed to do. And so, I mean, he can't exactly live with them on land in his current form. So, you know what? Go away, live in peace.
Yeah. And once again, Tony Stark gets killed in What If. I'm like, damn it, this can't leave my man alone. Like,
I think
jeez,
that's Tony Stark, and What If is going to be the Sean Bean of
basically.
of this series. Like, we'll
Yeah,
see him die in many iterations, and this is only the first episode. This season has, what is it, 8 episodes?
I think so.
Okay, and this is the final
8 or 9.
season.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, um, but yeah, like I said, I think my favorite part of this episode was seeing all of the characters come together. And I really hope we get to see more of them, because it's been, what, 3 years since Shang-Chi came out, 3 years since Moon Knight came out, or two
Yeah.
years maybe. And we don't really have any news about seeing those characters again in the MCU. So if I can just get them here in What If, and think I know that Shang-Chi is going to be in one other episode, because I did see in the trailer there is a cowboy version of him, which
Yeah,
I'm
he's gonna
really
be.
interested in. So we'll get to see them here, but now it's just kind of like I want to see my characters back in live action. I especially
Right.
want to see Moon Knight, because y'all left us on such a cliffhanger with the reveal of
Right.
Jake, that okay,
Mhm.
y'all just gonna leave us hanging like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, you gotta pay that off.
yeah, but we know MCU is going through some changes right now. We don't even know what, like, it's gotten to the point where I start seeing stuff about what's supposed to come out, and I don't even pay attention to it. Like, I might share it with you guys, or I might share it, but deep down
Hmm.
inside, I've kind of taken on the attitude of Anthony, like, okay, I'm just gonna wait and see, because I don't want to get disappointed,
Right.
with them saying, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Like, I think there was something that was released last week saying, oh, Marvel Studios is still going to use Jonathan Majors as Kang for, I think they said Doomsday or something. I'm like, but how? Oh, okay.
Sure. Whatever.
Because the legal situation that he found
Yeah.
himself in, the ex-girlfriend dropped the charges, so now I guess, oh, everything's hunky-dory now. So I don't know, I would
Mm.
like to see more Moon Knight. I would like to see more Shang-Chi. And who knows, we may see a couple of these other characters show up in uh Captain America, Brave New World. May not,
Yeah.
like, we see a Monica Rambeau pop up, just,
Yeah.
hey, do something and leave. But I'm
Little
not
something.
I'm not expecting it, but it would be fun.
Or in the Thunderbolts somewhere, somehow. I mean,
Oh
because Red Guardian could be there.
yeah,
So.
yeah, because he's in that.
And Bucky. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay.
Yeah,
I
I'm just don't
enjoyed it.
want don't want to get bladed again, where to keep putting it off and putting it off and putting it off and putting it off again. And we're gonna do up. No, putting it off again.
And you know what? Okay, since you mentioned Blade, I saw something else somewhere about they're still supposed to be doing something with Green Knight. And I'm like, yeah, just stop.
The Black Knight.
Black Knight, yes. What did I say? Green
They
Knight, yes.
need to. That is the biggest that pissed me off worse than not having Blade. Is like you're gonna tease the Black Knight. The Black Knight is a badass, and he could care. The Black Knight could be a whole series of movies. Like he's done that much, and the mantle changes. It's just like Ghost Rider. It's like the mantle changes, so it's
Mm-hmm.
like they could do a whole lot with that. I mean, he could be. They could do Midnight Suns. They could do Midnight Suns. They could do a whole lot of. They could do medieval fucking Avengers. They could do the 1602 that they did last
Mm-hmm.
season with him. They could do it in medieval times and just show his progression. But it's like, it's MCU. They don't know what the hell they don't know. Sometimes they don't know what they're doing a lot. So nowadays. It's just like it's frustrating. I'm just
I
like,
just
just give
think
me something.
it's to the point where they're trying to do too much. And I mean,
Again,
at the beginning, I think we've had this discussion before. It was like, yes, give us, give us, give us. But now it's like they're oversaturating it. And
hmm
especially with the whole timeline thing and multiverses and everything, I think it's just
it's
they
too
do need
much.
to kind of pare down a little bit. And I think
hmm
Anthony was the one who mentioned it. They need to focus what they're going to, what storyline and that they're going to tell us, and then go from there. But yeah, I do want to see Moon Knight. I do want to see Shang-Chi. So however y'all can
Yeah,
figure out to get those in there,
that'd be nice.
let's
Yeah,
do that.
let's do that.
So yeah, because I mean, you had really great properties with those. Shang-Chi was a success in the box
hmm
office. Moon Knight
Yep.
was one of the better series that they've had on Disney Plus, which I'm gonna be honest, I'm kind of the quote unquote Marvel apologist, just like you, but I don't think they've really had many bad things. I mean, we know the couple that we have all said that we didn't really care for. I'm not even going to bring those up again,
We're
but
good. Yeah,
Moon Knight was one of the better series. Like, I think Moon Knight is still in my top 5 for me. So,
pretty close to me too. Yeah.
if you have those properties and those characters and they did very well, why would you not want to continue that instead of giving us, and I'm just gonna say Eternals because a lot of people didn't like that film and those characters. I loved it, but
I
you
liked
gave
it,
it, yeah, you gave it
but
to us, and then now you're not gonna follow through with it. So again, give us the characters that did do well.
and the things you set up in the Eternals too is like if you first of all, I mean, it's like they tried to do what they do with Guardians of the Galaxy, take a comic that a lot of people don't know about and put it on the big screen and hope for the best.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't do as well as they thought. They tried to introduce Black Knight and Blade at the end and try to get us a suit for it, and now we're not going to see any of the three, none of the above.
Yeah.
And they wasted putting Harry Styles as Thanos' brother as a post credit scene. Just like there's a whole lot of stuff they teased in that we're
Yeah.
not going to see now, and
Yeah.
it's like I just like I'm agree with I'm whole 100% with Anthony. They just need to streamline and focus on one thing
Mm-hmm.
because it's like just give us something consistent. Just give us something that makes sense and that is good. I don't care if you only give me a TV show and a movie or two a year. I don't care if it's
Just
as
make
long
it
as it's
quality.
good.
Yeah.
Right. Make it good. Don't just
And make
try
it
to
make
throw shit
sense.
together. Right.
And make it
Don't
make
just
sense.
right. And don't try to throw shit together. I mean, I understand like previous stuff might have been affected by the panda bear, but it's like even if that happens, it's like slow down. As soon as you get something together, as soon as you get past that, go with it. Don't just try
Mm-hmm.
to keep throwing stuff and keep a timeline when the timeline's been interrupted by a force of nature. It's
Yeah.
like slow down and just pick it up where you left off. Don't just keep throwing stuff in and fucking up the timeline. And people wondering who the hell is this? Why are you showing me this now? And
Yeah.
it's all out of sequence because that's how you lose people. And people start being like, I really don't care now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah. So, but this is first episode,
this is
and
good.
what they
I
are
love this.
doing is they are releasing an episode per day for the next. Oh yeah, it is 8 episodes because it's eight days. So
Right. Okay.
so we will be recording those episodes. Um, maybe not very quickly because this is a few days before Christmas, which is one of the reasons why Anthony and Michelle are not on this particular show because they had stuff to do tonight. So our recording schedule and our release schedule for the next few weeks will probably be a little sporadic because of the holidays. So we will try to get caught up with that. We do have some other things that we are going to be talking about in January and the start of 2025. But I think this third season of What If got off to a very strong start. It was a very fun episode. it was, like I said, I was so excited because of the characters, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the season.
Yeah,
So,
I am too, definitely. I can't wait.
yep. So, you have any last minute thoughts about this
Y-
episode?
Yep.
What you got?
Okay, give me just a second. Okay. Yeah, shout out to the two on your left scenes. It's almost like they did like in Endgame where where Sam said on your left when he passed running, and then when Banner was coming in on the plane, he said on your left when he was coming in too. So he kind of paralleled that. I thought that was pretty cool. Also, shout out to Moon Knight saying when they were putting the mech together, they were like he was like, oh, teamwork, who knew? The one person who actually knows all about teamwork and getting people to getting two separate entities to do one thing and try to do it. Like, okay, cool. Like I caught that. I see what you did there, sir. Shout out to the style that they did it in, where they had a lot of tile shots during the action, and it
Mm-hmm.
made it seem like it was just like comic book panels, like where they had like where he was like, "We got to keep hitting him. We're not doing it," and they kept showing like the shards, the different ways they were showing it. It was
Yeah.
just like I feel like that's how exactly how it would have looked in the comic book, and that was awesome. And oh, shout out to Casey for gave me this new my new pencils and my notebook because I had a blast using them to take notes today. So Casey, you're awesome. Cool. Um, this was outstanding. I love the Avenger Assemble when he that whole sequence. Like even though I've seen it in the previews, when he said Avenger Assemble, and everybody was like looking at him like, yeah, let's go. That whole thing was awesome.
And see,
Um,
that threw me off because I was like, why are you saying Avenger singular as opposed to Avengers? But then when I saw the episode, I was like, oh, this makes sense because you're
because he's
creating one
assembling,
big
yeah, the mech's
Avenger. Yeah.
assembling. That was
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. This was Gundam meets Godzilla meets 70s, 80s anime, and this everything I watched when I was in elementary, middle, and high school. I loved it. It was perfect. And I can't wait to see what comes next. I have a list. I need to go look at the list and see what's next, but I I I have no notes. And I just really enjoyed this thoroughly.
Okay. So, I guess that is it for this particular episode. Like I said, they are releasing 7 more episodes, 7 days. Will be covering those. But for now, that is it for our show. You can find us online at www.fandomhybrid.com. We are on social media, on all the social media at Fandom Hybrid. You can chat with us on our Discord channel. You can watch our videos on our YouTube channel, and you can listen to us on all major podcast streaming platforms. Thanks for listening. We hope you join the conversation next time, and Merry Christmas.